There is a book entitled The Secret of Success. It's about 10 of the most successful men of the United States who have made piles and piles and gobs of money. The book sets forth the secret of how they got ahead, starting from nothing and climaxing in tremendous financial success. Most of us, most people, would like to find the secret to success in the financial world. I can't give it to you. I haven't read the book. If I did, I wouldn't understand those stuff. It's likely, though, that we want to know how to be successful. And so we do watch and we listen, hoping to pick up some of those things that would make us successful. You know, if you turn on the television, you'll find someone who has had a degree of success who's pitching one product or another. But you know what I've discovered? Just because you can throw a good spiral with a football doesn't mean you can tell me how to dress or how to brush my teeth or how to smell or what blade to use while shaving. It doesn't work that way, right? You can be successful in one area and a failure in another. And yet somehow we think the success in the sports realm makes us a good role model in every area of life. And we look at those things and we think, wow, it would be great to have that kind of success. I want to share with you that I believe the greatest success we can have in life is to be successful in living a Christian life and being a light and example before those who are in darkness. But somehow we get confused with the things of the world and we fall short of the spiritual. So let me ask you a question. What's your most precious possession? This world is filled with expensive battles and trinkets and so forth and so on. Now, let me share some of the things that I've discovered just recently that are precious possessions for the successful. For instance, I read about a gold-plated, diamond-studded iPhone, $297. Oh wait, $2.97 million, and it's only a 3G model. What successful fool owns that product? You can own the world's most expensive television called the Prestige HD Supreme Rose Edition. The outer frame is gold with diamonds and the inner frame is alligator skin. The cost, a mere $2.3 million, and it's only a 55-inch screen. A couple of years ago, a Mexican billionaire brought a 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO from its British owner, and he only paid a cool, get this, $35 million. I'm sure he considers that a precious possession. You ladies, did you know that you can buy, and I'm not sure I'm going to say this right, you can buy a Hermes Birkin handbag for prices that start at a paltry $10,000? You can buy one with gold and diamonds for a sweet $1.9 million. What's your most precious possession? Maybe you're into watches, right? If you own a Rolex, it's probably a prized possession. But if you paid $25 million for a diamond and gold watch designed by Chopard, might be one of your most precious possessions. If you're an art collector, you might be the owner of a Jackson Pollock piece called Painting Number 5. Real creative. Painting Number 5. It only cost $140 million. Make sure you got a big enough house to hang it. It's 4 by 8, and it's painted on a sheet of plywood. And folks think they're successful when they own those kinds of things. So what's your most prized possession? Many people are looking for that prized possession. Many are looking for a pattern in life that will bring success to them. And I think success can be defined in many ways. But I want to tell you, I think there are two primary ways. There's success by the standards of the world. And there's success as defined by the cross of Calvary. One is temporal. It'll last for a while. The other is eternal. And will last through all the ages. We find a story that talks about success. It talks about prized possessions. It's a story that Jesus tells right after, in Luke chapter 12, right after he's talked about hypocrisy, and he talks about gossip, and he talks about getting your priorities straight in life. Listen to the words that Jesus tells in Luke chapter 6, beginning with verse 16 and reading through verse 21. I think it's an interesting story. Jesus said, let me tell you the success story of a certain farmer. The land of a rich man brought forth plentifully, and he thought to himself, what shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops. And he said, I will do this. I'll pull down my barns and build larger ones. And there I will store all my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Take your ease. Eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, fool, this night your soul is required of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? So is he who lays up treasure for himself, is not rich toward God. Well, that's the Revised Standard Version. Listen to the Good News translation of the same passage. There was once a rich man who had land which bore good crops. He began to think to himself, I don't have a place to keep all my crops. What can I do? This is what I'll do. He told himself. I'll tear down my old barns and build bigger ones. And I will store the grain and all my other goods. Then I'll say to myself, lucky man, you have all the good things you need for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and enjoy yourself. But God said to him, you fool, this very night you will have to give up your life. Then who will get all these things that you've kept for yourself? And Jesus concluded, this is how it is with those who pile up riches for themselves, but are not rich in God's sight. And here's how a farmer might put it. This fellow has the best river bottom land, the best river bottom farm in all the land. He's a smart fellow. He bought the land for almost nothing when it was just swampland. He drained it, he cleared it, he plowed it, he tilled it. Now he has soil down there that is as rich as it can be. And you know, he started out from scratch. He didn't have a leg to stand up, nothing at all. Now he has such a successful operation down there that he's had a bumper crop. When harvest time rolled around, he realized he had nowhere to store up such a plentiful crop. So he did some thinking and decided to tear down his smaller barns and build some of the biggest storehouses around his barns. The farmer realized he had more than enough for years to come, so he decided to sit back and take life easy. I've got it made in the shade, he must have thought. That is until God said, time's up. And then what? Jesus finishes that great story, whichever translation you like best. Jesus finished that translation with the most unnerving way, I think. He said that God came to the man and he said, "You fool! You fool! You've amassed a great deal, but you've not been faithful in your dealings with me." Now, from a secular point, this man doesn't sound like a fool to me. He made a wise investment, and he made a killing. He was apparently set for life, and yet Jesus called him a fool. Before we can go any further, I think we have to answer this question. Why was this man called a fool by God? Because he was rich? No. That's not what the scripture says. I can't find anywhere in the Bible that being rich makes you a fool. In fact, a poor man can be just as big a fool as a rich man. The lowest paid bank teller and the highest paid bank president can equally be foolish. So it's not the amount of money or the number of figures in your bank account that matters. Thank goodness for that, right? That's not what makes you a fool, not according to Jesus. Also note that Jesus doesn't indicate that this man accumulated his fortune in a dishonest or unworthy manner. There are some who use and abuse others in acquiring wealth, and they are indeed fools. Someone who acts in that manner is truly a fool, but that's another sermon for another time. There's no indication in this story of such a person being a dishonest businessman. In fact, Jesus, I think, uses this example as the example of one of the most honorable professions that's around, farming. Usually this means hard work and integrity. The very foundation of an orderly society for centuries has come from the noble farmer. Jesus certainly doesn't suggest this farmer is any less noble than others. Nor does Jesus suggest that this man is affluent because he's not thrifty. This man isn't wasteful. He takes what he has, what he's grown, and he stores it up. He works hard and figures what he's reaped is for himself, for his family, is for a great and wonderful future. Nowhere do I find in scriptures that God ever commends the lazy or those who waste what's entrusted to them. We're called upon to be good stewards of everything God entrusts to us. The careless and the irresponsible are never commended in the scriptures. The mean and ill-tempered are not commended. So why does Jesus call this particular man a fool? Let me see if I can answer that. Simply put, this man was a fool because he had no place for God in his life. Because he had no place for God in his life. He was what some might call an atheist. He may have had some knowledge of God. He may have even attended church. But this man was a fool because he lived life without God in his life. We might call him a practical atheist. He was not a theoretical or theological atheist. He could say with the best of them, I believe, his farm, he said, farming is farming, and that's my world. I think the man was a practical atheist because all week long he lived for himself. His business was his business, and there was no place for God in that business. The world is filled with people just like that. And unfortunately, there are many in the church like that. The kind of person who puts on the costume of Christianity on Sunday, but lives as an unsaved person outside the walls of the church. We find too many folks sitting in the pews on Sunday, and I'm afraid Jesus would say to us, you're acting like a fool, or you are foolish, or more harshly, you fool. These are the kind of people that might get confused thinking, well, I'm in the church, therefore I am of Christ. That's no better than sitting in a car, in a garage, and thinking you're a Porsche, or a Mercedes, or a Yugo. It just doesn't work, does it? You can think all day long, but if God is not in the center of your life, Jesus said you're a fool. Let me give you 4 reasons why I think Jesus said this man's a fool. I think he made 4 mistakes, not Jesus the man. First, he mistook himself for God. He put himself where God belonged. He got the roles mixed up. He thought he was God. If you go back and reread that passage, that account, you'll find that the man says I or my at least 7 times, and in one place it's 11 times. So there's a whole, it's a choir practice, if you would, right? He's warming up, me. You get it? I. My fruit, my goods, my soul. Here's what he's saying. It's mine. This is my money, my farm, my barns, my crop. I made it all. You see, this is the product of my hard work. I was the one who worked. I had the smarts to do it, and I did it. I could do as I please. What he failed to realize or acknowledge was God's part in his success. I don't watch such things as the Oscars. I think they're foolish. I think most of those people are foolish. I think they're hypocrites. One, I understand. I've seen some of the replays. Got up with the trophy in hand and said, there are some people that say, thank Jesus or thank God for this privilege. But it's all about me, she said. It's all about me. It's all about me. And I've heard athletes say it. I've heard businessmen say it. I've heard politicians say it. I've heard others say it. It's because of what I have done. You know what? When we forget God, we're in trouble. This farmer failed to see God's power in growing those crops. If God had not sent the rain or the sun, or had sent too much rain or a drought, then what? The farmer was just a small part in the providence of God. Without God, he has nothing. Without God, we are nothing. Without him, we are nothing. We have nothing. We're helpless. But somehow, we think it's mine. I believe God will hold us responsible for our stewardship and how faithful we've served him in this world. But too often, we have the eye on it. A story is told of a farmer's neighbor who came to see his friend's new place. The farmer said to the other farmer, Look at what I built. Come on in. I want you to see my new house. I built a nice kitchen and a new garage out back. Look at my new car in that garage. Come on back and look at my new machinery. Let me show you around my farm. Look at all the improvements I've made. And on and on and on and on he went. Meanwhile, the farmer's wife is in the house and she's listening to all of this. And when the neighbor left, she took after her husband with a frying pan, yelling at him, "It's not yours, it's ours!" And she whacked him on one side of the head, and then she whacked him upside the other head, screaming all the time, "It's not mine, it's ours!" Well, that man apparently learned his lesson, because the next morning, when the alarm went off, it was still dark in the room. He stumbled around the bedroom. Finally, his annoyed wife said, "What's the matter with you? What are you making so much noise for?" And he said, "Honey, I can't find our britches." Sometimes I think God needs to take a frying pan upside my head to get my attention. It's not mine. It's ours. God merely entrusts to us for a while some of the things of the world. So the man's first mistake was playing God. Ever seen anybody do that? I've seen it with positions in the church. I've seen it in Sunday school classes. I've seen it in power struggles. We play God. Second, this farmer mistook the means of life for the end of life. That's kind of an abstract idea, but I want to look at it just a little bit closer for a moment. This guy mistook the things that make up life for life itself. Jesus warned the crowd that was following him. By the way, by this time, according to the first part of chapter 12 of Luke, it was thousands of people following Jesus. And he shared the story of two brothers who were fighting over their inheritance. One said, "Jesus," or teacher, whatever, "make him give me my inheritance." And Jesus said, "I'm not about to get involved in this selfish dispute over the things of the world." I think that's a warning for all of us as well. The things of the world just don't matter in light of eternity. Too often we get so busy trying to grasp the things of the world, trying to get ahead, that we miss out on time with God. We miss out on time with family and loved ones. And that's downright foolish, isn't it? The spring thaw came, and the storm from the mountains joined in with a mighty rushing river. On one ice floe was the carcass of a sheep. An eagle flying high saw that sheep floating down the river, and he landed on what seemed to be a great buffet table. And he ate, not worrying about the huge waterfall that was just ahead. Being the mighty eagle, he figured he could fly away at any moment. But as the ice floe started over the falls, the eagle discovered he couldn't fly away because his talons were entangled in the frozen sheep, and he plunged over to his death. I think that's what Jesus is saying to us. Don't let your hands get so tangled up. Don't let your heart get so tangled up. Don't let your mind get so tangled up in the things of the world. Because you either can't or won't let go. And it will take you down. Folks, listen to me. Things can't own you. You can get so caught up in what you think is important that you miss out on what is truly important. The farmer in our account made a fatal mistake. He was owned by the things of the world, and he was proud of what he had done. Third mistake. He mistook his body for his soul. He mistook his body for his soul. He said, I've worked so hard all of my life. I just about worn my poor body out. Now I can lock it all up and get these barns full, and I'll have all I'll ever need for years to come. And I'll say to myself, soul, take it easy. But he was mistaken. He was really saying, body, take it easy. For he had made no preparation for his soul. My friends, soul ease does not come from full barns or big bank accounts or worldly possessions. If that was the case, the happy, peaceful people in this world would be those who are wealthy. And the ones with the least would be the most miserable. But that's so often untrue, blatantly untrue. Some people have everything this world can give in the way of material possessions, but they have no inner peace. They try to equate bank accounts with eternal security. They think pleasure, luxury, and comfort are the same as inner peace. That's what this farmer was doing. They seem to think that security in this world is equal to security in eternity. Maybe God is making fun of that kind of thinking when he says in Revelation that the streets of heaven are going to be paved with gold. What we consider most precious in this world is road paving up in heaven. Soul comfort comes from a right relationship with Almighty God. That's the only thing that will give us real peace. The only thing that will give you peace of mind and peace in your heart, it's a spiritual thing. It's not an IRS thing. When you get your spiritual life straightened out, you'll find real peace. You may not have a huge bank account, but you'll find true peace. Soul peace is what God offers. Lastly, the final mistake this farmer made. He mistook time for eternity. The Bible says in Proverbs 27:1, do not boast about tomorrow. Not a person listening to me in this room today has the promise of tomorrow from God. That shock you? Nowhere in all Scripture does God ever say, I'll give you tomorrow. All we have is today. But this farmer thought because he had today and all the things he needed in the world, that he had eternity. In his flawed thinking, he thought his days on earth were going to be many. He presumed upon God. He may have thought that he deserved a long life since he had worked so hard and was a pretty decent fellow. Because of that, God will give me all I want. The Scripture says, my ways are not his ways. His will is not my will. God had another plan businessman was. Presumption on time will get us every time. How many folks today are presuming on God right now? You know the ones who say, I'm just too busy to get involved in the things of the church, the way of the Lord. One day, when I've got it made, I'll have time to do all of those things. And Jesus said, you fool. You fool. John Ortberg gives a modern day twist to his story. Listen to this. He gives us a story of a successful businessman. This man worked 14 hours a day, even on weekends. He thought the 40-hour work week was such a good idea that he often did it twice in 1 week. His goal was to be the best businessman he could be. Even when he wasn't at work, his mind drifted toward his work, so that it was not only his occupation, it was his preoccupation as well. His wife tried to get him to slow down. She knew that they weren't as close as they used to be, but because of his work, he hardly ever gave her any time. After all, he gave at the office. In the back of his mind, he knew that the kids were growing up and he was missing it. His kids complained about the ball games he missed, the meals around the table he missed, the school concerts he missed. After a while, they stopped complaining because they figured he was never going to change. The businessman told himself, I'll be able to spend more time with them when things settle down. Besides, they have a nice house and nice clothes and cool video games because of my job. Everything I do, he rationalizes, I do for them. Deep down, he knew that he would be living this way even if he didn't have kids. But it made him feel better to say it that way anyway. He also knew that he wasn't taking care of himself the way he should. His doctor told him that he had some serious warning signs like high blood pressure and high cholesterol. The doctor told him to cut back on the sweets and the fast food. But instead, the businessman stopped going to the doctor. He was a man. He said there would be plenty of time for that when things settle down. His wife tried to get him to attend church, but he said, Sunday is the one day I get to crash. It's the one day I get to sleep in. I don't have room in my life for God and the church. There'll be plenty of time for that when things settle down. One day the president of his company said, when we have a new account with the Kohler company, we're going to be rich. We have a lot of work to do over the next year or so, but it'll all be worth it. Later that night, the businessman tells his wife, do you realize what this means? We can relax. We can take life easy. We'll be able to take that vacation you've been talking about. But his wife said, I've heard this speech before. Besides, there was one small detail the businessman had overlooked. There was an artery that had once been as supple as a blade of grass, was now dry as plaster. The blood cells could barely squeeze through. Each day while the man anxiously watched the stock market and successfully did his work, the artery accumulated more and more plaque. Later that night, while he was hunched over the computer, his heart skipped a beat. Then another. Then another. He gasped for air. He clutched his chest. And he fell asleep. His wife woke about 3 o'clock in the morning. Where is he? Why isn't he in bed yet? She wondered, and she got up and she sees him slumped over his laptop. She says, that figures. He'd rather sleep at his desk than come to bed. She touched his arm and she realized how cold it was, and she panicked and called 911. They came to the house and they told her that he had a massive heart attack and he'd been dead for hours. People came from all over to attend his funeral. His work buddies said, he was a great leader. a dedicated worker, a good man. The company paid for the businessman's headstone. It said, "Here lies Barry, a visionary, an innovator, an entrepreneur." But later that night, God sent an angel to the headstone. There the angel traced his finger, the word God had in mind to describe the life of this wealthy, successful businessman. Fool. God said, "You fool. This very night, your life will be demanded from you. Who will get what you're prepared for yourself?" I hate that story. Because I've seen it happen too often. When we don't have time for the spiritual side of life, we're presuming on God. Too many folks are too busy and they're missing out on blessings from God. You know what? After 40 some odd years in ministry, I've come to a conclusion. I'd rather have a church of minimum wage earners who are sold out to the Lord than a church of millionaires who are in it only for self. I would rather have a church filled with the widow who gave her mite and who had time for God and time for his work right now than to have those that God calls. I think a lot of Baptists are going to be disappointed. I think a lot of people that have worked hard for success are going to be disappointed. God doesn't make us to be fools. I think that's the one place where we are self-made. God wants us to be wise in our stewardship and wise in our spiritual journey so that we might enjoy more barns filled in this world and give it to him for his glory. He wants us to know the joy of hearts filled with love and the promises of eternity with him in his kingdom forever and ever. We close with a thought. I attended a funeral in Lawrenceville for the mother of one of the deacons at North Run. And the daughter, Margaret, shared the beauty of her mom. And she concentrated on the reality that her mom was a born-again believer in Jesus Christ. I officiated at a memorial service for Ruth yesterday. And I came to realize hers was a life centered on God. I attended a funeral a couple hours later in the afternoon for Harry Montgomery, a 94-year-old friend. And I listened as several people talked about how Harry had touched their lives, how he worked with youth, how he, in his business, often gave his work. He was an auto body repairman. He often gave his work to those that couldn't afford it. But I think the most telling thing of all was when Jimmy Banks, my dear friend, who was to retire at the end of this month, so it shows you he's got a little age on him. Jimmy stood up and said, everyone's talking about how much they liked Harry. He said, I didn't like him at all. And through the emotion that he shared, he said, I loved him. identify the things that he loved him for. The example, he said, of 73 years of marriage. The example of teaching in Sunday school. The example, he said, in loving his wife, his children, his church, and his Lord. And I thought, no one would call Harry a fool. I'm thankful for 3 Christian funerals in the last 2 days. For I have stood behind the sacred desk, knowing that many were unsaved. And I fear they heard the words, not well done, but you fool. You lost it all. You lost it all. So where are you? God called this man a fool. And he might do the same with some of us. But I believe he wants us to have the joy of Jesus in the center of our hearts. I pray that your barns are filled, but that in filling those barns, you're a good steward to your Lord and to his work. And that unto the least of these, my brethren, you are gracious and generous with time, talent, and resources, that you will not hear, you fool, but rather, well done, my good and faithful servant. Enter into your rest. We stand now to sing our invitational hymn. If you've never received Christ as Savior, why not? Why not? Why not today? If there's some foolish area in your life that you need to give back to God, surrendering that thing that's between you and him, why not today? Don't presume on tomorrow. If there's something that's keeping you from being the best 4-mile creek person you can be, why not today surrender that? Just a few moments, we're going to leave this room, we're going downstairs, we're going to eat together, we're going to fellowship together, but don't go down there as a fool. Go down there knowing that all things belong to him. And today is all that we have. May your tomorrows be filled with love and joy as you move towards eternity. Don't presume. Give God the glory. We stand together, we sing, as God leads us. How we respond.